You are sitting in an open vehicle with no doors, no cage, no glass. 10 feet away, a lion is looking directly at you. Not glancing, not distracted, looking at you for a full 30 seconds. And then it looks away. That should not be possible. A lion can take down a Cape buffalo. It can sprint at 50 miles per hour. It weighs 400 pounds of pure predatory muscle. And right now, there is nothing physically stopping it from crossing that 10 feet and ending your vacation permanently. You are softer than a buffalo. You are slower than a zebra. You are, by every biological measure, the easiest thing in that animal's field of vision. So why doesn't it move? This question is worth taking seriously, because what's actually happening when that lion looks away from you is one of the most fascinating pieces of animal psychology on the planet. Let's start with what the lion is actually seeing. You are not sitting in a safari vehicle. You are part of it. This sounds like a small distinction. It is not. Large predators read the world in shapes, silhouettes, and movement signatures that evolution has spent millions of years calibrating. A zebra moves like a zebra. An impala bolts like an impala. Every prey animal has a specific movement profile that predators have learned to recognize and respond to. A crouching lion knows exactly what a running gazelle means. The calculation is instant, automatic, ancient. But a Land Cruiser with 3 humans sitting motionless inside it? That registers as a single entity. A large, boxy, loud-smelling, mechanically rumbling entity that is bigger than the lion, smells like nothing in nature, and makes a sound unlike any living creature. To the predator's pattern recognition system, you are not a human. You are part of something unidentifiable. And unidentifiable means dangerous until proven otherwise. The lion doesn't see you. It sees the vehicle. And the vehicle does not compute. This is the first layer of protection, and it's almost entirely passive. You don't have to do anything. The geometry does it for you. But there's a second layer that goes deeper. The lions in the Serengeti did not always ignore safari vehicles. There was a period when the vehicles were new, when the animals didn't know what to make of them, when they were wary, unpredictable, sometimes aggressive. That was decades ago. What happened between then and now is one of the most underappreciated processes in wildlife management: habituation. Generation by generation, the animals in major game reserves have grown up around neutral vehicles. Vehicles that appeared, watched, and left. Vehicles that never chased, never threatened, never caused harm. The cubs that were born into that environment absorbed the lesson before they ever made a conscious decision about it. Vehicles are background. Vehicles are furniture. Vehicles are not a factor. Researchers studying elephant behavior in Ambosili noticed something remarkable. Elephants could distinguish between vehicles from different nationalities of tourists. They were calmer around vehicles from countries with longer park histories, more agitated around vehicles from newer tourist regions. They weren't reading bumper stickers. They were reading the behavioral patterns of drivers, accumulated over decades of learned association. These animals are not just habituated, they're calibrated. They know the difference between vehicles that have always been safe and vehicles that feel slightly different from the pattern they've memorized. That level of cognitive tracking should rewrite what you think animals are capable of. Now here's where it gets important. Because attacks do happen. Park rangers across every major game reserve in Africa will tell you the same thing. The moment a human stands up inside the vehicle, the dynamic shifts. The silhouette breaks. The vehicle as creature illusion fractures. And suddenly, where there was one large, unrecognizable entity, there are now individual human shapes rising above the roofline. Prey-shaped, prey-sized, moving independently. In Kruger National Park, the majority of serious wildlife incidents involving safari vehicles trace back to the same pattern. A door opened. Someone stepped out. Someone stood up at the wrong moment. Not because the animal suddenly became violent, because the human accidentally told the animal what it was looking at. The rules that feel arbitrary, stay seated, keep your arms inside, speak quietly, are not arbitrary at all. They are the operating conditions under which the entire system works. Break them, and you're not just bending a rule. You're dismantling the only thing between you and a very different kind of afternoon. There's one more piece most people don't consider. The animals inside established game reserves have had almost no negative experience with vehicles. But the animals outside those reserves, in areas where poaching is common, behave completely differently. Elephants in heavily poached regions in Central Africa show measurable fear responses to the sound of vehicles. They flee. They charge. They are dangerous in a way that Serengeti elephants simply aren't. Same species, same biology, completely different behavioral programming. Because the lesson they learned across generations was the opposite one. Vehicles mean threat, humans mean harm. This is not instinct. This is memory. Passed down not through genes, but through behavior, through observation, through the accumulated experience of a population watching what happens to animals that don't pay attention. The game reserves that feel safe didn't get that way by accident. They got that way through decades of consistent, neutral human presence that trained entire animal populations to file vehicles under irrelevant. That neutrality is the product. The safari experience you're sitting inside, the one where a lion looks at you for 30 seconds and then goes back to sleep, that is the result of an extraordinary, invisible, multi-generational negotiation between humans and wild animals. A negotiation most tourists never know happened. So the next time you're in an open vehicle, no doors, no glass, 10 feet from something that could kill you without effort, and it turns away. Know what that means. It's not ignoring you because you're unimportant. It's ignoring you because it has decided, based on everything it knows, everything it was taught, everything written into its behavior by every encounter its family line has ever had with something like you, that you are not worth the risk. That decision is a gift, and it is fragile. Don't stand up.